Hello and good day to you, my beautiful friends. I do hope you are well. Welcome to episode 110 of CrossButtonVR, our journey into the world of VR. Now, I'm your host, Laurie, and it is an absolute honor to be joined by one of the most smoking hot influences in the metaverse. It's Reece. Sorry, is that too soon?
I'm sorry, but that is a bit too soon, isn't it? Really, let's be
You
honest.
said
Fucking hell.
you said there was no such thing as too soon.
I said there's no such thing as too soon in a group chat full of friends who made a little bit of a joke every once in a while, but bloody hell.
Hey,
All right,
what is this? What is our audience if not your friends?
Let's roll with it, yeah.
Reece,
Yeah,
why
so
don't
for
you tell
anyone,
people, for anyone
yeah.
that hasn't seen and might be wondering where we've been the last few weeks, why won't you fill in our audience as to what happened?
Yeah, I will do. Obviously, I won't go into too much of the whole details of how it happened, but we'll go into the details of what has happened. So about 2 weeks ago, or coming up to 3 weeks ago now, my house caught fire while I was out. Came back home and opened the door and smoke just straight out. So yeah, I had to run inside, grab the pets, come back out with some of them. Fortunately, everyone's fine. Myself, my pets, my partner, we're all good. But as you can see by the backdrop, and possibly will change again at some point. Yeah, we're not in our home, and we don't know when we will be. So yeah, it's been rough. It's been very rough, that's for sure. We've been in about 3 different places in the space of 2 weeks at the first time. So yeah, it's been a very very difficult time. Something I've never thought I would ever have to go through. It's very surreal, very surreal. But obviously we a few people kept asking me to set up a GoFundMe and things like that, which was very sweet because I'm not one of them people that would ever ask for anything like that. So it was very sweet to see like the Discord members asking for that. So we didn't do a GoFundMe, but obviously we've got the Ko-fi. If anyone did want to donate to that, just put Reece Relief Fund so we know it's not going to go into the main section, because with GoFundMe you have to set up how much you want. And to be fair, when I've went through the house and we've assessed how much has been damaged and things like that, it's one of them things I would never want to put a price tag on for people to feel like they have to try and aid in that situation, because yeah, it's too much to comprehend. Yeah, I think it's the best way of putting it. But yeah, if you do want to throw a little bit of change and things like that, and to try and help my situation anyway, it kind of is at the moment it's going towards kind of everyday living, I suppose, is the best way it is, because yeah, that's just the way it's having to be. By everyday living, I mean like shopping, toiletries, and all that kind of stuff. Because everything, and I mean my whole whole kitchen, the fridge, all the cupboards, all that kind of stuff, all that's kind of gone. So yeah. So if anyone does want to help out in that way, you're more than welcome to do so, but only do so if you 100% can. So that's on the Ko-fi. But everyone that has done it so far, I just want to say big thanks. It's literally, yeah, you've blown my mind. Didn't expect it.
Yeah, it's lovely to have a very supportive community that can come together and help out and support you. Yeah, however they can.
Yeah.
So well, it's obviously great to have you back. It's great to be back. So I can't say that we'll be putting every week because obviously you're moving around and you're in different situations. So if we do skip any other weeks over the next few weeks, that's just tough. There's plenty of other podcasts out there for people to listen to, so they can have a week off us. But that's why if normal service will resume again at some point in the future. But if we do a bit hit and miss each week, then that's why. But yeah, but we're back this week with episode 110.
That's for sure.
Exciting. And we've got quite an exciting week because we've missed a few weeks. We've got a few bits of news to wrap up. And we're going to be talking about Ghost Town. We recorded our snap, which went out last week, and that was good. We loved it. So if you haven't checked that out yet, please go back and watch that. That's about 15 minutes, our review of Ghost Town, and we've now both finished that game, so we just want to give our final thoughts on that. You've been playing Gorn 2 that we can get back to. That's been out for a few weeks now, so we just want to cover that off, and then we'll go through all the news and any other bits we've been playing. And yeah, that'll be that. Cool.
Brilliant. Sounds good, doesn't it?
And if everyone could just give us a like and comment and subscribe, however you're using, follow us or whatever, please do. You can find us anywhere at CrossButtonVR. Find us on Ko-fi as well if you want to bunk some cash to help pay for things. But let us jump into Ghost Town. Let's start there because we have now finished that. Obviously, we had the snapper last week. We both absolutely loved it. And the reviews came out last week. And it seems like we were not the only ones, Reece, that liked it. I have not seen such a kind of universal praise. It's been
I think that's the best way of putting it, isn't it? Yeah. Universal praise, I think, is the best way of putting that.
I am so pleased for them. I've never seen a game kind of. It wasn't kind of under the radar because I've been looking forward to this one, but it doesn't feel like everyone's been as hyped for this game as maybe they should have been.
I think it's a very internal hype for us. Yeah, it's a very internal hype from our point, wasn't it? We all really enjoyed it.
I think fans of the Room VR were hyped, but outside of that,
yeah, exactly.
And I think I really hope, just given how well that it's reviewed and how everyone's talking about it, a lot of people will think, well, I've never heard of this, but I'm going to give it a go. And they're also going to be blown away and they'll tell their friends about it and stuff. And it's such an accessible game. We finished it when we did the snap. I mentioned that I thought I was about halfway through it. Turns out I was a bit further than that. I was probably about 2/3, 3/4 of the way through. So that would be my only negative side of the game is that I just wish it was a little bit longer. Because I just loved it so much. It probably took me about 4 or 5 hours to finish. And just, an extra hour or two would have just been the absolute perfection. But I do hope there's more. It's such a great they've got everything they need now, and I think they've done all the hard work on that amazing graphics engine, the characters, the setting. They can continue the plot, or they could do a completely different story, but you've got kind of all the ingredients you need. So I'm hoping they can make a sequel relatively quickly in the next couple of years and just put new environments and puzzles in. Because there's no work absolutely ever needed again on the graphics and the mechanics and everything. They've just absolutely they nailed it first time.
Yeah, I would agree. I just want more. As soon as it finished, I was like, okay, I could go for another hour. I think of this. There was never a point where it felt like it dragged, and I know some people, I've had some comments on the snap, people that don't really like story games and things like that, and wonder whether the gameplay is. Can you play this just for the gameplay? And I kind of want to address that one in a bit more detail, just simply because, yes, you could play it for the gameplay, but I don't think you're going to get your money's worth from it. This is very much a narrative game in the same part it is a puzzle game. They both play such a big part to it. I don't think you would get that satisfaction that everybody else has got from this experience if you just went in and went, okay, I just want the gameplay, I'm going to ignore everything else, because there is that element of the storytelling around the world and all the characters that just kind of make you feel there at all times. It really does a great job making you feel set up in this world. So
I mean, just ignore the story. Just don't pay attention to it. It's VR. Just look somewhere else when someone's talking to you.
I mean, you can ignore the story, but I wouldn't recommend it.
There's not many points where you have to just stand there and be spoken to. Most of the time you're doing something. I can think of that one scene that everyone's talking about where you put the hand on the thing that is a bit kind of passive. But most of the rest of the time when you're in conversations with people, you're doing puzzles as you're doing it, or the conversation is setting up the context for doing a puzzle. So I think it'd be very.
I think you'd get enjoyment from it.
To say, oh, this is rubbish game, too much story in it. It's like, well, not that much. But I just hope it's not too long a wait now for sequel. I think this is coming out on flat as well. I believe is it? It's coming out on PSVR too. I'm sure I saw somewhere it's coming to flat. Maybe I'm making that up.
I mean, they've done non-VR stuff before on mobile, so I mean, I doubt they'd have a bad time actually getting it to be a non-VR game. Obviously it's still coming to Steam, PSVR 2. There is no date on that at the moment. They've just said soon. I'm assuming it's due to maybe QA times, or maybe it just needs a little bit more work. Maybe they simply just want to push it out a little bit more on PC and PSVR 2 before getting that release out, which is something that everyone's going to be more appreciative of if that is the case, because obviously they've got the haptics, foveated rendering if they want to go that route. I mean, I'm still shocked of how great it looked on Quest. Just, I don't think I've loaded up a game so many times and just felt in that world at all times. Like when you're walking around the flat, when you're looking at the flat, when you, I'm going to say a lot about the flat because I feel like it's very, it just reminds me.
I saw one reviewer calling it an apartment. I was like, it's not an apartment.
No, that's not an apartment, my friend. That is too run down to
very different.
That's too run down to be an apartment.
There is no flat version, so sorry for getting people excited.
Okay,
there's no flat version. Yeah, I know where I got that idea from. I just checked on their website.
Okay, I'm glad he checked before people be like, oh,
people
Crossbutton
were
exclusive.
so pissed off, wouldn't they, with me? But yeah, you can. It's on Quest 2, Quest 3, 3S, Quest Pro. It's coming to PC VR and PlayStation VR. So it'll be in every VR format you could possibly want it. So do check it out. It's
but no mention of Pico yet, I don't think.
Sorry, I don't.
Yeah, everyone forgets Pico.
But yeah, loved it. So
Yeah, no,
Ghost Town.
100% seal of approval from us. There's no doubt about it. Yeah,
I think it's going to be it's tough, and it's really tough because this year I kind of thought it feels like a bit of a quieter year this year, especially after the end to last year with the kind of we had with like Metro and Alien and some other stuff that all landed at the end of Behemoth all at the end of the year, and already this year I think Hitman VR on PlayStation VR 2 and now Ghost Town on Quest. They're like the two best VR games I've ever played. Like this is like I can't decide which is my favorite because it's like they're both amazing. They're just so different. It seems sort of pointless to try and to sort of rank them and say which is the best. But they are literally two of the best VR games I've ever played. They have both blown me away in their own ways, and it's just kind of so exciting that I wasn't too. I was excited for both of the games, but I wasn't like really hyped for it, and I'm so glad I've been kind of pleasantly surprised by them both and blown away by them.
Yeah, I think another thing to point out as well with Ghost Town, and it's another thing I've seen other people praise it for, and I just want to quickly give them a shout out for that as well, because I genuinely want them to basically realise this. To play a game in VR, or just a game in general these days, with absolutely no bugs, no issue, no jank, was such a breeze. It was such a nice feeling to play a game out of the door without any issues. And
yes, because often we're playing pre-release versions of games that we get sent for a review.
Yeah, exactly. So
so
it was
like, a day one patch is going to fix all this stuff. It's like, well, yeah, but great, but we've got to play the version that's like janky as fuck.
Yeah, and I mean that's understandable when that happens at a review process because it happens at quite a few times sometimes. But
yeah, and we're not complaining because obviously we're getting privileged access early to these things, so we understand these things. But the point is that we are kind of used to having to play sort of slightly buggy versions of stuff, and that's just part of the deal. It's fine. I'm not complaining. But with this one, you're absolutely right.
Time,
with this one, it's like it was absolute privilege to be able to get to play it early and play it such a polished version of it. That was it. Just that, and we talked about it on the review. Just the voice acting and just how polished everything is. It's such a well made package, and it's such a small team as well. I think there was only Fireproof Games. I don't know how many people work for them. This is quite a small company. I think it's only like sort of 30 odd people.
Yeah, I don't think it's the biggest, but yeah, no. I salute them.
Yeah, so everyone go check that out. And if it's coming to, obviously, a lot of our audience are just going to be PSVR 2 only. You can just wait. Don't know. Obviously, we'll share if there's any updates as to when it's coming to PSVR 2, but it's going to be an absolute banger of a game when it lands on PSVR 2.
And the likelihood is you're probably going to hear our thoughts as well again when it comes to PSVR 2, and we'll talk about obviously the comparison and that type of stuff as well. Because I know some people do enjoy hearing the comparisons between headsets, just because of they may own both like us.
Cool. Well, we could talk about Ghost Town for the whole hour, but let's move on.
Yes.
People want more on that. Join our Discord and just gush away on that, and we'll happily pick you up on that. But Reece, why don't you tell everyone about Gorn 2? Because that is the other big game that's come out recently whilst we've been off.
Yes. Gorn, the first one, was one of the earliest memories I have in VR, other than Resident Evil 7. And to be fair, it's a game I never thought would see a sequel because, one, I never really thought we would need one. I suppose is the best way of looking at it. I'm glad it did. After playing it, I put in about an hour or so, and after that, like this is a very early impression of what I played. I'm not going to go into a full review or anything. It's more just how it made me feel in the first hour or so of me playing it. I'm glad it's back. I'm glad Gorn has returned. It feels like they've added a bit more extra in the background in terms of like a narrative. Not really a narrative, but more of a dialogue to follow as well about these gods and things like that. I say gods, they're not really gods in a sense, the way they look. But I found that quite cool to kind of follow along to. But at the same point, I think with Gorn, this would be the type of game where I don't need that, and I'm probably going to ignore that the whole way through. So if there is a game you want to ignore story or any dialogue, this is probably the one. Don't care for it. I just care for the arenas, and they're as gruesome, as brutal as ever. And I mean, Laurie here hasn't played Gorn, so let me paint a pretty picture for anybody else who hasn't played Gorn. You start in an arena. You can play it two ways by using analog movement, or you can kind of do the whole move your arms to move kind of situation. Not gorilla tag, but I mean like waving your arms from side to side to walk, like a walking motion. You can do that, which is a bit more dangerous because that's how the original one was played, and that's also how I hurt my hand back in the day by smashing a pedestal fan across the room. So I would advise probably sticking to the analog movement if you have a smaller play space because you will hit something. At that point, you usually start off with no weapons. Sometimes there might be weapons on the floor already. And you literally get enemies coming in waves. And this could be from 1 to 2 enemies or more. And then you'll just kind of have to, well, I suppose the best way of looking at it is beat the shit out of them. And yeah, you can be as gentle or as gruesome as you want. So you can just punch them until they're down, and you can take their weapon and dispatch the next one, or you can grab them by the head if they're dazed, and you can rip their head off, their arms off, their legs off. It's as gruesome as you can imagine for a VR game to be, but while maintaining this kind of wacky and very out there art style that makes it enjoyable in the same sense.
It's very cartoonish, isn't it? It's very cartoonish.
It's not like when you play like Blade and Sorcery or something like that, or Hitman, and you do these grotesque acts, and you're like, oh, that was a bit too real for me. Whereas when you do it on here, you're like, oh,
you're not going to get that reaction for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the benefits. But like, you can stab them through the chest, and sometimes it might pull out their heart. It's just very silly. So it's a lot of fun. It's still as enjoyable as the first game. It just kind of adds a little bit more to that. But I'm looking forward to playing more of it. It's been quite a nice little game to play when I just kind of don't want to really think about anything and just smash up people in an arena, I suppose is the best way of putting it. Which doesn't really sound good, but we'll go with that. But no, definitely worth checking out. Golden 2. Hopefully Laurie will try it as well, and we can hear what he thinks because he doesn't.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a go. VR. It's a complete kind of newcomer to the genre. Really, it's not that kind of
It's a lot of fun
game normally.
Yeah,
it's definitely Gorn was so well regarded, so I'm definitely keen to try it out. That's what I love about VR is trying things that I wouldn't normally play, and being surprised and enjoying them. Stuff like Underdogs, that's just like not something that I would normally consider, and that also blew me away.
I still love how that one got you.
Yeah, so good. Yeah. Such a good game. Cool. Well, let us jump into the news, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
Shall we? Well, I think the main news this week has to be the fact that Doja Cat is now a purchasable avatar in Meta Horizon Worlds. So I think we're not going to top that as news. Reece just looks like, what are you fucking talking about? No, let's start off. We'll stick with Meta. The top best-selling games on Quest of all time. The top 50 best-selling games. And at number 50, no, I'm not going to go through the whole list because we would be here a very long time.
Just do 10. Just do 10.
Well, have a guess what you think is number 1.
Does this include free games as well?
No, paid Quest titles.
Paid Quest titles. Beat Saber?
Of course it is.
That makes sense.
And the second one is the other game that's always there in the top.
Job Simulator.
Yeah, you're good at this. Okay, so top 10. Number 10 is Walking Dead Sinners and Saints, or Saints and Sinners even. Number 9 is Vader Immortal, episode 1. Sorry, episodes 2, 3, and extra. Onward, Among Us 3D, Virtual Desktop, whatever that is. The Thrill of the Fight.
It's a virtual desktop.
Yeah. Blade and Sorcery Nomad, and then we've got Super Hot VR at number 3 before we get to Job Sim and Beat Saber. So,
okay, so that's actually it's not a bad list for the top 10. What's the 50th game? Just out of curiosity.
The 50th, please don't touch anything. No, it's good to see a lot of the games that I love in there. Like Moss is number 49. Got Arizona Sunshine is 38. Waltz of the Wizard 34. You've got we've got Walkabout Mini Golf number 20. Gorn 21. So yeah, we've got a lot of the big hitters. And Pistol Whip 25. So a lot of these games are some of the biggest games on the headset. I mean, that's 50. It's quite a lot of games, isn't it? That's a long list.
Yeah, they've just thrown it at you, and we don't want to give you 10 or 25. Just take 50. Never ask us again. But
yeah, it's quite interesting to see all the sort of things that people are playing, and no surprise that Beat Saber is number 1. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this list changes and if any new games can break in now that Quest are not sort of taking a different approach with their Horizon store and pushing content that's free to play on people.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. But I don't think anything's ever going to beat Beat Saber in the world of VR. I think would be 50
I think
years
it's
from
just
now,
so
Beat
well.
Saber will still be number one.
Yeah, it's just very well regarded, isn't it? I think every time somebody picks up a VR headset, somebody goes to them, well, Beat Saber's a good game to play to start out with because you're not really moving around yourself, you're just moving your arms. So it kind of works for them people. So
I think I'm more likely to buy Beat Saber now on Quest as well because I still haven't played it. I still haven't bought it on either headset. But I think just because it's the sort of game that you'll give people that come around, and I think the Quest is probably a bit more accessible, isn't it? Just to stick on someone's head when you've got people around and stuff.
I prefer the Quest version. I was trying to,
no,
it's
that's
more
fine.
so. No, it's more so because the way the controllers feel. So when you play it on the PSVR 2, I don't really like the feel of the controllers because the way the whole ring is, and I prefer the
and also you're kind of thrashing about. You don't want a cable and stuff.
Yeah, that's also true.
Pinning you down. Cool. Okay. Top 50 of those. Let's move on though. Let's talk about Wanderer, which is a game that we talked about a few weeks ago. I think our last episode we talked about it when we were joined by the one and only Hippie Pickle. Love that guy.
Yeah.
And I was quite, I was enjoying my time with it. I was quite impressed with it, but people were commenting, and Craig was having some issues with some bugs and things. We all agreed the combat was absolute dog shit. And it seems also the developers also agree that the combat is
absolutely dog shit
because they are going to completely overhaul it. So this I was quite surprised actually that the note they put out, because it wasn't the kind of the same kind of yellow letter that people send, just like, we hear you, we know it's a disaster and please let's work on it kind of thing. But it was a bit of a mea culpa all the same. They said, let's be real, we know it's had a bit of a rocky start and it's a less than great experience and we are genuinely sorry. So it was a bit of the kind of we're sorry letter, which is never a good look when you release a game. You have to apologize for it, the state it's in. And I'm so honestly surprised because I suppose if you're playing it on Quest, I think it's a lot more buggy and janky than on PSVR 2, which does a better job of running the game. But it seems like the developers aren't happy with it. They've committed to a whole roadmap of improvements to it. There's one already that's come out, a big patch at the beginning of April with various bits and bobs on it. But there's a hotfix that was, and then we've got the first big patch coming in May, which is going to first part of the combat overhaul, lots of performance and stability improvements and general bug fixes, and some other bits and bobs as well. And then in June, July, there's a part 2 of the patch, which is also going to have part 2 of the combat overhaul, which seems a bit like, why would you do that in 2 parts? Surely just overhaul it when it's ready
all together.
Because it's still it's better, but it's still a bit shit. Just
like cooking half your dinner and then coming back to cook the rest of it 2 weeks later.
And then beyond that, 2025 and beyond, PS5 Pro support, resolution mode for PSVR 2, which will put it on 60 frames per second resolution for ultra crisp visuals, utilizing reposition or reprojection. And then the PS5 Pro support will do further visual enhancements and presumably frame rate and resolution, all that kind of stuff. There's going to be some DLC content that'll come and some further bug fixes and stuff. So now, I got a little way into it, was happily playing it though, but now I'm like, well, fuck, I'm going to stop playing it. I'm going if I know there's PS5 Pro support coming and better resolution, and the one big thing I really have just sort of had resolved to completely ignore and skip over as much as possible was the combat. And if they're going to completely overhaul that, now I'm like, oh fuck, am I going to have to wait another year to play this game properly? I'm like, well, I want to play this game and I want it to be brilliant, because that's what all the reviews of it said. This is a really good game here, but right now it's not ready. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just guess I'm holding off then still. I just almost pretend it hadn't released, and I guess I'll wait. And if it takes, because the fact it worries me that it says 2025 and beyond. Like, we're talking it's going to be next year.
When is this going to be finished?
5 Pro support. It's come on, guys. Like, you'd already delayed it like a year, or best part of a year, and now you're essentially saying it needs another year's work to get it up to the standard you're happy. And that's it's not cool, is it? It's not good. And it strikes me as like they needed the money, so they had to get something out, and now they're finishing the game. It's not good. We were talking about Ghost Town earlier and how that shows that it can be done.
Maybe I know there are 2 different scales.
But that's not a good look. So I'm probably going to just put that game back on the virtual digital shelf and wait till all the yeah, if there's going to be PS5 Pro support, I'll hold out for that, I suppose.
I mean, by the time it gets its PS5 Pro support, it does sound like I may have a PS5 Pro by then, and you know.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah,
real bet would be: will I be back in my home before Wonder is completed? So I think we should
yeah.
start that as a thing here. No, I'm joking. Let's not do that.
Yeah. So I mean, I was enjoying my time with it. I was really impressed by what I played, but now I'm like, well, if it's going to be significantly better, I'll hold out and I'll wait. And plenty of other stuff to be playing in the meantime. So yeah, it's a bit disappointing because I was so hyped for this game, and the fact that they kind of admitted
everyone
that
was.
the game
Everyone.
they put out isn't is less than great in their own words.
Yeah,
it's a bit like, okay, well, it's a bit of a downer, and I don't know they'll ever get the chance to. I mean, this is already a re-release of a game, so can't re-release it a third time. I suppose it just shows you how bloody hard VR development is, to be honest. So I do feel for them. Sorry, I interrupted you there. What were you going to say, Reece?
It's fine. I mean, I think from my perspective, like it's been quite nice actually to see the VR community still kind of saying to them, it's cool. You know, we know this is highly ambitious and all that kind of stuff, and we think you can do it. Like, a lot of people have really been hyping it up, as opposed to like a year ago or 2 years ago when this would happen and people were jumping down their throats and really being evil about it. And I mean, I don't know whether it's just because it's this game or it's, you know, people are just being nice about the situation of what is happening with development of games these days. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of point out because this is the one thing that's kind of I keep seeing is like no one's being aggressive to them. I've seen a couple, but they were more on the funny side than the aggressive side, and just it's just a bit of an odd one. But I do wish them all the best. I hope they get to the stage where they want it to be, and where us as players are actually going to be really happy with it. I was in the same boat as you. I was enjoying what I was playing, but now I know that, and I actually didn't run into any issues because I haven't got that far into it. Because obviously, after I played it, my life crumbled. But it's one of those things where I didn't have any issues, and I was looking forward to continuing it. But now this is here, I feel like okay, well, I'm going to wait to the. I can't ignore the combat. I can't. Every time I do that combat, I'm like, this is just
it's painful, isn't it?
No. So yeah, wish them all the best.
My favourite bit is when you throw a knife at someone and it goes out. It's like firing a bullet. You flick a knife and it goes like a bullet, no matter how far away they are, and they're down in seconds. Yeah.
Every single time you'd throw a knife as well, it'd do a different sound effect. Like 1 minute it would sound like it was hitting a pillow, then it'd sound like it hit metal. Never did it sound like it hit someone's skull. Like it was a very odd, weird situation. Yeah.
You sick bastard. Right, well.
Sounds matter.
Well, when that game is finished, I'm going to revisit it and then we will probably do a review of it. We will at least re-review it then, even if the rest of the world doesn't.
Yes.
Let's move on, though. Let's not dwell on the negative. Let's dwell on the fact that 200,000 people have now played the Resident Evil 4 remake on PlayStation VR 2. This is Capcom have shared some statistics of how many people have played their remake in VR, which is pretty cool. I don't know, 200,000. I don't know, is that a lot?
I think it's more. We've been seeing this. It's the image, isn't it? The statistic image they put out, didn't they? It had all other stuff on it as well as the VR things. It was like a whole image they put out. Again, I think this is only so when you start Resident Evil, it asks if you are happy for your data to be collected. And a lot of people can, I would say a lot of people can. You can select yes or no to that. I think even I selected no to that because I think I loaded up the game way before VR.
Oh, so it's 200,001 because they've not counted you at least.
Yeah, exactly. But for anyone that has, done that exact same thing, I think the number will probably be not considerably higher, but a lot higher than 200,000. I'd say, maybe somewhere like 250. Something like that sounds like a more accurate number, possibly. But.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard without knowing how many PSVR 2s have been sold. It's hard to know, really, the context of that number, I suppose. It sounds like quite a big number, though, to me.
Yeah, 200,000 is pretty good for a VR game.
Yeah.
Well, a VR add-on that was free.
Yeah, especially a game that no one essentially paid for, the VR made for. So, yeah, good. I hope they keep making VR versions of flat games.
Yes.
Another game which will probably, will it sell 200,000 or not? Let's see. Is Star Wars Beyond Victory, which was the one that they kind of teased and we mentioned it before. They have now shown it at some Star Wars convention event thing, celebration, whatever it's called. They've now probably shown it off. It's a mixed reality playset where you are pod racing, and it seems like I think I can see this is going to be very appealing to a Quest audience of younger players. My
Yeah.
son would absolutely love this. The fact that you've got proper full VR scenes where you are progressing the story in full VR, and you've got like Sebulba and various characters from episode 1 Pod Racer and stuff. And then when it comes to pod racing, it switches to mixed reality, and you have a little racetrack in front of you, and it's almost like you've got little scale electrics in front of you, and there's going to be like an arcade mode and just a free race mode, and then this story mode. And I was reading an interview on it, and it sounds like the story mode is quite involved, quite in depth, and they're describing it as being canon. It's like, guys, it doesn't really need to be canon. It's fine.
No, don't make it canon.
It's just a pod racing game. It doesn't matter, like whatever. But the fact that they're sort of talking about it in those terms, and I wonder, is that because this is obviously a Quest exclusive, and I wonder if this is this year's big kind of Quest exclusive they have going through holiday periods, and they've had like Assassin's Creed and Batman and Star Wars, and it's clearly like they know the buttons to press that's gonna the kind of the sort of the mainstream market will pay attention to. You know, a big Batman game, a big Star Wars game. It's so they maybe got something else more like Batman, who knows? But certainly a big exclusive Star Wars playset is a good way to get attention to your headset. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've watched a little bit of the video that went out, and some of the images of people have been posting. It's mainly the pod racing thing where I've been seeing people complain quite a bit because they're saying, "Oh, you should be able to sit in the cockpit of the pod racer. You should be able to drive it around." And I'd like to go back to what you said. I don't think this is made for that type of audience. I think this is genuinely made for the type of audience that kind of wants that little sit back and watch type of thing. This is not it's not an in-depth type of thing, is it? Let's be honest.
It's a toy. It's a playset.
Exactly.
Even in the title, they're calling it a mixed reality playset. And as someone with young children, when you say playset, it conjures up exactly. That's telling me as a parent exactly what sort of experience it's going to be, and that's fine. It sounds cool.
I've seen all the grown-up Star Wars fans that own a VR headset being very upset they can't sit in the pod racer right now.
Fuck off! Like, not everything is made for you, okay? Like, yeah,
it's been making me chuckle because I'm like, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I'll watch a Star Wars film, but it'll probably take me 3 years after it's been out for me to even get around to watching it. But I look at this and I'm like, might be cool to look at that while I'm in my room. I have no intention to want to sit inside of a pod racer, like no intention. Not in that anyway. Maybe another game that's catered around it.
Yeah, just play it on the N64. Okay. Play the N64 version if you want a first person.
I used to like those.
Cockpit view.
But no, it does look pretty cool. I think the people that are going to get kicked from it, like you said, the younger audience that love Star Wars, I think they're going to have a good time with this. Well, we hope so anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if it's got a cool story and quite a compelling story, then I'll happily play it. And if the pod racing is quite a straightforward part of it, and then you can get back into the kind of being in the whole kind of Star Wars immersive world, then sounds great.
Star Wars immersive world. Ooh.
Well, people want to exist in that world, don't they? And
yeah, you're right. I want to hang out with Jar Jar Binks one day.
Yeah. Well, Misa say we should move on.
Exactly.
Walltown Wonders is coming to PSVR 2 on May the 7th now, so next week. As people listening to this, and this one surprised me. It really did, because obviously this is a Quest game that is all about the mixed reality, bringing your room to life with all these little people.
Yep.
I
was
played this
as well.
I played this one recently and talked about it a couple of episodes ago, and how much I enjoyed it, how blown away I was, and also how much my wife enjoyed it, which is a rare feat for a VR game to try and get her to play. And it's interesting because obviously PSVR 2 can't do mixed reality at all. So they're creating digital environments, a virtual environment. So you're in a virtual room, and then the Walltown people are coming out of that room. And it does look really clever how they've done it. And they've said these rooms, they're not just rooms. One of them's like a garden. It's like an outdoor space with like a walled garden, like a kind of terrace in some sort of Italian villa type place. Some very nice kind of resort holiday place. And the developers have said they're not thinking of adding these environments to the Quest version, and so they're creating them as quite high fidelity spaces to be in. So it makes sense if you can map out your room, and you can map it out as a kind of a box that you're in, and so you can just put up some virtual walls, and then the Walltown people can come out of those. So it does seem like a pretty good way of adapting it and sort of taking away the mixed reality aspect of it. So I'm looking forward to giving it a go, just to see how how effective it works. And I would say the mixed reality stuff, like I really loved it, but when I was playing it in my room, you've got stuff all over the wall. I've got TVs and radiators and pictures and stuff, and so inevitably the stuff you put up on the wall, it's like has to straddle pictures and straddle like if you're, it's hard to fit it around it. So that does break the immersion if you've got stuff on the wall and the virtual stuff's trying to sort of sit in front of where you've got a picture, and it's so yeah, it does. I think for people, if you don't have like a big clean square room with nice white walls that you can put lots of buildings coming out of, it can get quite fiddly anyway. So a lot of people that are playing in smaller spaces may just prefer to just throw some virtual balls up anyway and just play it on those.
Yeah, no, I looked at the trailer they put out, and I really like the look of the virtual environments they've done. I think they look quite nice. And I think they said like flying and things like that are going to be improved. There's a few other little improvements they've done to it as well, I believe, as opposed to what they've kind of said. Not
do you
loads,
know, it's just going to, because obviously on Quest this is all about hand tracking. This is one of the first games I played that was completely done with hand tracking.
I'm hoping it's hand tracking.
Well, yeah, because I guess you're going to have to, because there are points where literally you put your hand out and the little people jump into the palm of your hand. So it'll be interesting to see how well
they can still do that. They could still do that even with a controller, can't they? Because they just make it so the controller has a flat hand, and when you grip, you're gripping them, all that kind of stuff. So they can still do it that way.
It's not the same, though, is it? It's not.
But if this is the thing, if they're making it so the room maps to your room still, so you know a size that you can play in, or if you have to use an analog to walk around this said room that you're in there. Do you get what I mean? Like, say if their walls are a bit back and you have to walk around, because obviously there's them bits in Walltown Wonders where you have to kind of walk forward in your own room to grab the things on the floor and place people down there to kind of do their digging, and then you pick them back up. And so it'll be interesting to see how that's done. But I'm looking forward to jumping into it, and we will be sharing our thoughts on the release, or near the release, I suppose is probably.
Yep.
Like
so a couple more games that are getting PSVR 2 ports that have now been dated. May, so that's going to be a busy month actually for PSVR 2, because we've also got House of Da Vinci coming on May the 1st and Pirates VR on May the 15th. So you've got three games there. Pirates VR, you played that before on PC VR, didn't you? You weren't too impressed by that, so we'll see if they managed to. I think the reviews of it said it was a bit underbaked and it needed some more work. So let's see if they fix any of the issues.
I enjoyed the graphics and the exploration side of it more so than some of the combat elements of it, but there were some bits, I was a bit about, but no, it looks good, and I'm hoping it brings that high fidelity over as well to the PSVR 2, because I think people enjoy that exploration in a pirate setting.
Mm-hmm. And then your House of Da Vinci, that's another escape room type thing. So I'm naturally very excited for that after the Ghost Town has got me into my puzzle escape room things. So that's coming out, and I think that's.
Didn't realise that was 1st of May. That has completely blindsided me, that one.
Yeah, so that's going to be the day this episode comes out, is it? Or no, a couple of days after this episode comes out.
Yeah.
So yes, please be excited for that one. But yeah, House of Da Vinci, I think that's quite got good reviews.
Well received. Well received.
Yeah, if you like. I
believe Alex tried it and he enjoyed it.
Yeah. Good on Alex. Remember him?
Remember Alex? Anyone else remember him?
Scottish guy we had. Yeah. So it's a escape room type game. So yeah, I'm always pleased to play those. So we'll be playing that one when it comes to PSVR 2 in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, I mean, of those, probably House of Da Vinci is probably the one I'm most excited for there. But I think for PSVR 2 owners there, we can kind of you've got some good games to look forward to in May coming up now. Which is good, because the people on PSVR 2 are going to have a bit less to play if they are PS Plus premium subscribers, because Sony are removing a bunch of games from that service, which the bastard kind of surprised me. And I don't know, well, maybe it shouldn't surprise me, because they do rotate the games that sit on PS Plus. But it felt like that PSVR 2 was building like a kind of, we always talked about it, is it was useful to have that kind of library of games. And I'm not seeing any new ones been added for the last couple of months. So there'll be like a net. I don't mind if there's like a one in, one out every month, but they're removing Walkabout Mini Golf, Synth Riders, Ghostbusters, Rise of the Ghost Lord, Before Your Eyes, and then The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, Chapters 1 and Chapter 2. So
sorry, They're practically removing everything that they put on there the first time, and
I
then
think
now
that
it's
was
PSVR 2 are getting games. Yeah,
that is no, you're right. That is all 6 of the original games that they started with, isn't it? And they've added probably another half a dozen since then. So there still were going to be like a big chunk of PSVR 2 games, but yeah, I suppose they probably added those about a year ago, didn't they? So
yeah, it was somewhere around about that.
So
Yeah.
you've had plenty of time to play those games, and anyone that hasn't played them yet, you can play before your eyes literally in about an hour. You can finish that game. So you've got time. You can play through that one, take that one off. Ghostbusters, you're fine not play anyway. Sim Riders and Walk Up Mini Golf, everyone should own a copy of those games.
Yeah, just go buy those
anyway.
ones.
And I don't know about Walking Dead. I've not played those ones, but
go buy Walking Dead as well. If you haven't finished it or you played it, you like to play it, just buy it. It's a great game, but it'll probably take you a little bit longer to complete unless you're just thrashing it out in a whole day.
So I think we were up to about a dozen PSVR 2 games on PS Plus Premium, so that's obviously going to whack it right down to maybe 6 or 7, whatever it is now. So I hope that it now just moves into more of a kind of one in, one out sort of.
Can only hope.
Approach. But they haven't added any
nice,
for a couple. They've done the PS Plus Premium updates, and there's just been some retro games. I've not seen any new PSVR 2 games added for a couple of months. So yeah, that'd be awkward if they start to just wind them and remove them all down, and there's no more PSVR 2 games.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what Sony are doing?
Who
Sony
knows
Sony.
with Sony? Maybe they'll make a game themselves once or twice ever again. Probably not, to be honest. Reece, what else have you been playing?
I have been playing a game called Resist, or I believe it might be called The Resist.
Yeah, Resist, yeah.
Yes, this was announced a while back. I think it came out the week of all the bad stuff happening, so I didn't actually get around to it straight away. But finally got around to it, and holy hell, I am so glad I played this on PSVR 2 straight out of the gate and haven't tried this on anywhere else. It looks fantastic. It plays fantastic. It is extremely fun. Like, the best way of kind of looking at this game is there is a story element to it. You kind of have a mission that you need to complete of some espionage type of thing. It all goes wrong, and then you're being hunted. So you kind of need to work around that, and then there's different objectives. I won't go too much into the story elements because it's something you can experience yourself as you go through. But it's one of the things where you can take it or leave it at the same time, which I do like those in VR, where you don't have to overthink the story, but you can if you want. But everybody's comparing it to Spider-Man in VR, which I think is the obvious reason is because you can swing around on these grappling hooks that can attach to certain points of the building. You have to literally shoot them out your arm to attach them to that part of the building. Mm-hmm. And then you have to either there's two ways you can do it. You can kind of move with your head to kind of adjust the turn. And then or you can move your wrist to adjust like how high and low and the curvature. It's very well done. You can also use analogs and things like that. They've made it very accessible to kind of just get into and not really have to think about too much. It's one of them things where it's easy to pick up, but it takes a while to master. To the point where I was doing great, and then I was like, "This feels fucking awesome," and then all of a sudden I'll just face plant a building, and I was like, "Okay, this doesn't feel too cool now. I'm just, I'm now on the floor." So it
happens to the best of Spider-Man.
Yeah. So it's quite humorous at those points, but you'd have like drones flying over, shooting at you, and you can grapple onto one of the drones and shoot at the other ones, fling off it and shoot the other one. It's like it just feels so cool.
Yeah, like when it all works up and when it all works, and you get in the flow.
It is, yeah. So I mean, support these devs. It's like Binary Mill have not only just ported their game across, they have added all this kind of extra gumph for the PSVR 2 to make it worthwhile of that port, and the kind of stuff that everybody kind of screams for, and it plays fantastically. It's so good, and yeah, I'm looking forward to jumping back in and playing more. But sadly, at that point, I needed to up and move again to hit where I am now, and I need to hook up the PlayStation. So once I get that hooked up, I'll be playing that one again.
Also, really shout out to devs. They've added a PS5 Pro patch as well, so it's got 120 hertz refresh rate now. If you are playing it on PS5 Pro, so a nice.
I mean, I'm playing it on the base one, and I will say it looks great on the base one. If you do have a base PS5, do not be put off by the whole PS5 Pro thing. It's still worth playing. It looks great, plays great, no issues. You don't have any frame drops or anything. It's very fast.
Yeah, it's a very good looking game. It's very handsome looking game.
Very worth playing. So that was the last big thing I played on PSVR 2. Quest-wise, yeah, it's just been Gorn and Ghost Town, really.
I mean, no problem with that. No problem with that.
No, it's been a good few weeks of playing games in that sense in VR. Like, I've not played any game where I'm like, ugh. So that's good.
Well, the only other game I've played is Hitman, and just...
Will you ever stop?
I mean, I don't think so. There's so many missions to it, and like each one I can play. Did I talk about it? The Sapienza one. I know I'll be talking to you about it, and I can't remember if I talked about it on an episode, but the Sapienza level is just like, that is a whole game in itself. There's just such a... You could play that mission half a dozen times and just do it differently every time. It's like you're in a Bond movie. You're doing like, you're infiltrating this. It's like you're in this kind of beautiful scenery, this Italian villa, and you're sort of sneaking around. And I'm trying to sort of pose as some golfing coach and hiding in some woman's room to ambush her and murder her. It's so cool. And then you're sneaking into this underground base that's hidden underneath the villa, and you're destroying some virus that they're trying to create before it gets out, and you're putting on a hazmat suit and sneaking into the lab, and it's just like, this is so fucking cool, and all of it looks so amazing. And then you end up escaping on a little seaplane, you fly out of there. It's just like wish fulfillment of being in a Bond movie. It's the only way I can describe it. And I say that Sapienza level alone, it's worth paying. I'd buy that as a game. It just doesn't need to, like, the fact that there's 18 more missions still to go just absolutely blows my mind. This thing, it's so incredible. It's so, like, the first level, the one in Paris in the fashion show auction thing, that was just amazing. It's like
humorous.
But the settings that they create, they're so detailed, the simulations, and that's what I mean. Just as a kind of VR virtual tourism thing, you could play these games, just ignore the whole Hitman side of things, and just wander around these environments, just be totally blown away by how interactive and how immersive they are, and how gorgeous they are to look at. I've never played anything like it in VR. It's remarkable because it's so. I've played like really good looking VR games, but these are real places that you go to, and you feel like you're walking around a real Italian sort of little town, and walking down these streets and going into a barbershop and stuff, and you're in a French big mansion and go like around walking along the Seine and stuff. It's absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to see what's coming next in it.
Sounds good.
Mind blowing. Cool. All right. Well, let's wrap things up there, shall we?
Yep.
Cool.
I'm happy to do so.
Thank you once again for joining us. If you have enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you could please tell your family and friends all about us. And if you'd like to get involved and jump into our Discord, please do so. It's ever so nice to see everyone there. I have been your host, Laurie, and I have been joined by the one and only Reece. And we'll see you again next time. Until then, it's goodbye.